Anita, and my mom is joining me. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of where this whole retail thing came from and some obsessions about jewelry that we share, and just talk a little bit in general about life. So welcome, Mom. Happy Mother's Day a little bit early. How are you doing?
Fine.
Good. So our journey, I'll say my journey and my inspiration in the fashion industry, I'd have to say goes back to my mom. Now, she doesn't know I'm going to say this because we didn't pre-rehearse anything, did we?
No, we
I said, just don't worry. We'll talk through everything. But it goes way back to, I have three sisters. I was the oldest of four sisters and still am. And it goes back to our young years. And my mom when my mom and dad are both farmers. My mom did all of when we were younger, not all of it, but a good part of it. She made our clothing, a lot of it. She's a phenomenal sewer. And as recently as, 8, 9, 10 years ago, sewed all of the bridesmaid dresses or the junior bridesmaid dresses for my first niece's wedding. And she's a beautiful seamstress. So she would sew beautiful outfits for the four of us, and we matched everywhere we went. So I think it was a lot of times so she wouldn't lose us. Is that right? We all have the same outfits?
St. Louis Zoo. They all had navy blue one.
That's right, at the zoo. So when we went on outings, then we would all be the 4 little Greiner girls all together running in the same colors. So if one darted off, you'd say, I lost one like that, right? So that's where some of, I guess, for me, the appreciation of fashion and fun clothes and my mom's influence. I remember back in the day when she and Dad that was back when they were like the long chains, and what'd you call them? The go-go pants, or what were those outfits called?
Well, you could say pantsuits.
A pantsuit. But they were short, as I recall.
Uh-huh. I had more chains hanging on the front of me than the dress covered.
It's true. That is true. I remember you had a purple one, and then you had these great silver beads with the big pearl beads. And I'm not even too sure, I don't have one of those somewhere along the way that ended up in my box of things, so to speak. And I remember sitting on the corner of my bed. My mom doesn't know this, probably this is just one of my memories. And I would be sitting on the corner of her bed watching her get ready and fascinated with what boots she was picking and what clothes she was picking, what jewelry. And of course, as we now know, mark that many, many, many decades forward, that stuck. So it was very influential in that way. So then we ended up working together. And do you want to tell that story, how that happened?
Oh, Paula called one day and they were doing inventory. She said, will you come and help? I said, I don't know any way how to do that. You'll learn, she said. I said, okay. I worked 2 days with the inventory, and in between times, they asked me to cover the floor. What that means was help people, wait on people, defer the traffic that was going to the desk where they were really busy. And then they offered me a job.
Well, so I'm going to tell you how I remember that story. So I remember we finished up the inventory the one day, and we were ready to open the store, and I was doing busy work at the desk. And at the time, my boss's name was Lana. She'll be watching this at some point. And Lana looked over at me and said, what's your mom doing? And I looked up and I go, she's selling, I guess. She goes, I think we should hire her. And I go, okay. And that's how it started. She just hopped onto the floor and started talking with people about clothes and what to wear and ensembles and how to layer things. And it was just as smooth as silk, and she never missed a beat. And so at that point, then you worked part-time. That was in the Waterloo store, the Seifert store. And for a couple of years, right? 2, 3, 4 years, maybe?
I kind of a troubleshooted. They sent me to Marshalltown for work in the mall for someone who was ill. And then the downtown girl quit. And so I went in to cover for her to the closing. You had to have someone cover who was a manager. So they sent me. And that's kind of how in Marshalltown got in the mix.
And you
They,
started running first of all, you started running the plus size store, right? The Marshalltown plus size store and the downtown Seifert store. And then eventually you ran both, I think, didn't you? The regular price and the other store.
about a year that we were both in this store. And then they decided to combine it, and I just managed both of them.
And how long do you remember? So was that was in the 80s, wasn't it? Let me think here. That was in the 80s, mid 80s, probably mid 80s. Until when? How long were you with Seifert's, from part-time to the time that Seifert's literally then closed? You were one of the last managers as the business cycled down. But you were how many years? 8, 9?
Oh, from the time I started till I quit, it was 20 years.
Was it 20?
I started when I was 40, and I ceased to sell when I was, well, I could have been at what I was working Waterloo store too, because I filled in over there.
So you still, you troubleshot some more. Yeah. So about a 20-year career, which started out just from doing inventory. We often laugh. So it kind of did become with Seifert's, which was a great Midwest iconic retail company that grew to over 260 stores. I was very fortunate. My mom was, many people to have been affiliated with Mr. Jim Seifert and Nancy Seifert, great leaders and inspirational people in the women's apparel, ready-to-wear industry. 260 stores in, I don't know, 20 plus states. And just a really great training environment to learn the business of good old customer service. We built our businesses on client-based practices where we literally shopped and dressed, women all over. And really an incredible experience to have had the training and the nurturing, and how that company, I can speak from personal experience for sure, brought me along and grew my abilities into certainly now a huge part of what I do today. And certainly I know my mom was as passionate as any manager about her store and the profitability of it. And, we all ran our own bottom line P&L statements, and she was good at that. She was very good. My mom was better at some of the budget control stuff than I was. And I ended up in Minneapolis, and you ended up then in the Marshalltown store. So great experience. We can concur on that.
Jim and Nancy were a family, and their kids were involved in the business, and they had several family members of managers. So he gave us the idea. It was kind of personal to it.
Yep. Yeah. When Mr. Seifert and Mrs. Seifert arrived at the store, it was a treat in all ways, and just very, really creative and well marketed, well merchandised. We were doing product development before most other companies in the country were, and a great team, and they were just very innovative for their space and time in what they did. So we were lucky to have them based out of Iowa, and driving that phenomenal force of what grew to be a very successful company and very successful people that came out of that company, and that we were fortunate to be affiliated with, for sure. So then we all took a break and went in different directions, right? And now that, well, I've circled by default back into it. It didn't really happen by plan. It just kind of happened, didn't it? And my mom was one of my first avid collectors of my design pieces. So, your family will always take your stuff before anybody else will. And she was very hungry about it. She is probably one of my bigger collectors. And you probably have, what, 15, 20 pieces from my cuff designs?
Yep. And well, Val started with the jewelry she was designing, years ago. And then all of a sudden, here came Paula was making jewelry. I couldn't believe it. Retail girl becomes our jewelry designer. renowned?
Yeah, because I'm not really an artist, am I? Not really. I wouldn't consider myself an artist.
You're an artist.
Well,
So
I'm a designer. I am that. The artists are always, I always say, I think the artists are always in a whole nother level beyond where I can even imagine to be. And some of the beautiful people I run across and what they design is, I'm in awe. And so I'm happy to be doing my little part though. And happy that I have collectors like you. And then it morphed back into, how did it get back into apparel that we're doing? Seriously. Didn't expect that to happen.
when the Timbuktu was introduced in the company, I think we all kind of changed our thought of, because we were selling Pendleton and established.
Career sportswear.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then this was more of a casual, acceptable way of dressing.
Mm-hmm.
And Timbuktu reminds me a lot of your skirts where the shells are loose tops, and it just ties in with the jewelry.
More the lifestyle type based dressing. Now, most of our followers don't know what Timbuktu is, but Timbuktu was a business launched by John Seifert, who is a Seifert son and a great friend, and another partner, Cheryl Fleming, Bills, who was a lovely and is a lovely person. And then I came into that business shortly after they launched that, and that was a very much a lifestyle developed brand that was all product development and great, like you said, loose fitting jackets, relaxed skirts, a great denim shirt, lots of belts. We developed a make your own jewelry stand. You remember the bead station?
I do.
We opened in the Mall of America. It was one of the stores, one of the 7 or 8 stores. And we had a bead station, and we had loose beads and leather and sinew, all kinds of things. And we would design earrings and necklaces and bracelets and even rings for customers right on the spot. We had Denise and Ann and a whole group of, Pepper was involved in it, great people. And we opened a second store, Galleria, in the Mall of America.
That's where Val was making jewelry.
Yeah, Val was making the beads for it. She was making custom designed colored Fimo beads to match back to the patterns of fabric in our apparel lines. Mm-hmm. So we had a whole family thing, going then too. We still do. And so when Stonefeather Road came to be and we decided to lease the store space in downtown Cedar Falls, the only clothing that made sense to me was lifestyle-based clothing. So clothing that was timeless, classic, interesting, fun, a little bit out of the norm in terms of not definitely out of the career buttoned-up sportswear and tailored wear kind of around, but really just clothes you want to live in and be in and travel in and work in. And that whole feel encompasses the jewelry, the clothing, the hats, kind of whatever thing we jump into, even if it's, the cow hides in your home. And that's where that, part of that, probably you're right. I hadn't thought about that with Timbuktu bridging that kind of a feel and transition for us, but I think you're right on that one, spot on. So beyond my designs, you have to share with all the Facebook friends what your favorite piece to collect is.
I've always been fond of the fetish. The reason being is elongated. I'm short, and if I put on the longer looking necklace, it gave me a longer waistline. It added a lot of color. That's what I wanted to. And if I put any other necklace on, I just came on up, and it didn't do any flattering. But if I could get it down further, it elongated my base. I have my original one that I bought was 1977. We went to California with the horses, and each of the girls had a bank account from 4-H money, whatever, and I told them they could buy something at this. It was a vault, and we went in, and I told them they could use some of their money, but what they wanted. What did you get, Paula?
I think it was a ring, but you know what? I don't even know for sure if I remember. I remember my first piece was my cuff from Aunt B.
Yeah, that,
Collection. I remember that piece because of course it was big, but I think I probably didn't have very much money when I walked in the vault. So I think I got a ring was what I had.
and I bought a fetish, and it's silver, and it hasn't worn as well as this old horse mother used to think. I've got one bird on it that's got one wing gone. Other than that, it's still all in one piece.
That's symbiotic though, you know, the animals, you know, and what we're told about the fetish is that they have animal spirit and that there's symbiotic meaning and all of that. So that actually has a really interesting implicit meaning. That's a very cool. So it's sterling silver, they're little birds. So it's the first one.
I'm perfectly happy to wear it today.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like about it, the ageless.
Yep. Got more?
Yes. If you ever met me before, I probably was wearing this one. It's birds and turquoise. Every other, can you see it?
Yep. Maybe we can get, Kayla can get a picture of all of those and we'll show the friends too. Okay. Afterwards, we'll post them. Yeah, that's a really pretty one. I remember. Where did that one come from? Do you remember?
I was asked to judge a queen contest at Independence, and I went to an antique store on the way home, and they had it there. I bought it.
Was that your "To Me, From Me, Love Me" gift?
It must have been. Another one. This is from Stone Feather Road, and I like turtles.
We sold that one. We didn't make that one, but that's a Navajo one, I believe. Yeah, that turtle one is cool.
I get a kick out of it because it isn't always what you like. It's designers like, and I came up with the turtles.
But you have turtles in your yard too, so.
Yeah.
And you'd have a live turtle if one were in front of you, right? You would collect a live turtle.
I had one for about 1.5 years, and he gave up the ghost.
Yeah.
Well, I have a granddaughter from Minneapolis who has one. What's his name? Frank, the turtle. And he comes out the hall every day and wants to the bathtub to go to the bathroom. And he eats breakfast and everything. And then he gets out and he goes out underneath the dog's bed and sleeps. Mm-hmm. And they've had it for...
Since he was this big. Frank was this big.
Yeah.
He's like this big. Yeah. So we have kind of a turtle thing in our family.
I guess there was a plumber there, and he was in the bathroom. He came out the bathroom door, and he said, "Chris, do you know you have a turtle walking down the hall?" Oh, that's a big one.
So there's a story with all the fetishes too.
Yeah.
I think Mimi should have the fetish, the turtle fetish.
Oh, you do? Well,
yeah.
Well, I thought Libby's the one that has it's a turtle.
Her turtle.
And then this is one for my daughter. It is a rope, don't you call them?
I have to see which one.
It's a long one.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome one. That's a 2-strand one, isn't it?
3.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one. Love that one. I had forgotten that one. That's really pretty. That's a longer one too, isn't it?
Yeah, on me it comes to my waist, but
yep, it's making me look longer.
Yeah.
Now you guys know where I get that whole vertical line thing, right? When I talk about things that make you look longer, who would known? Is that it? You had one more, didn't you? Don't you have a 5-strand too? You have a multi-strand 5-strand?
No, this is funny, Paula. I gave it back to you.
You gave me the 10-strand back because it was too big, but you had a 5. I thought I traded you a 5 back. Did I not horse trade that evenly with you?
No, I had the other, that one I have is the same.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, then I owe you.
What's nice about them is if you wear fetish, you can also add a silk scarf, and it looks right at home. Like if so many of the girls are wearing silk scarves with their
Yep.
two-piece outfits. Then you just wear your fetish and it fits right in.
It layers right in, it does. Now, you haven't talked about the one you have on.
I got this out in Vail, wasn't it Vail, Paul?
Steam, no, it was Breckenridge.
Yeah, you're right. And I had lost a bracelet, and the insurance company reimbursed me, and I hadn't done anything about replacing it or anything. I walked into this jewelry store at Breckenridge, and this just hit me like, it came out and jumped at me. It has a bear at the base, and then it has probably 6 other animals all the way up, and fish in between. But it's browns, and that's the thing. I like browns, and you don't find Indian jewelry in those colors. Mm-hmm. So when I saw it and did a little research on them, I finally went and got Russ, and I insisted that Paula be with us. And then I showed it to him, and I walked away. He bought it.
Done. Yeah, done. Do you think you got a little pressure? Yeah. That was an easy sale on Grandpa, for sure. Or my dad.
I did too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an awesome piece. Well, your whole collection is stunning, beautiful. And what a great life, walk back memory where all those came from, and the spirit animals that have surrounded you and brought you good energy. And that's part of what that kind of a piece is about. So thanks for sharing that, Mom. Mm-hmm. So we're going to wrap up with a couple of things. There's a couple of things that my mom has given me in wisdom over the years, and to my sisters, to our family, to our grandkids. And they're different kind of just bits of sage wisdom that she has shared. And so she can remember some of those. I have a couple of them written down too, but is there anything that you'd want to share that you've instilled or passed forward to all of us that the friends might enjoy?
I went at one time, I wrote a poem about our barn, and it had spokes on a ladder that went clear to the haymow, but they were really far apart. And I doubt that the kids could even ascend till they were 6 years, 7 years old. And I said to them, reach and climb and reach, and you'll get where you want to go. That was one. Mm-hmm. And the other one was, I gave Paula a gavel when she graduated.
I have it.
And I said, she got her first management. I said to her, extend your trot. And in the horse world, that means you're trotting your horse very evenly. An extended trot means you kick it down very slowly and go faster and faster. And then I felt like the rest of the statement should be, when you've reached what your goal is, then you just even out.
Let it ride.
Russ feels the same way about push when you're younger, and then you can relax when you're older. Only didn't figure out how to relax.
Yeah, I don't think he cruises because he loves what he does and he enjoys. And that's where I think the one thing certainly the both of you have instilled in us is work hard. Whatever you do, work hard and do a good job at it and put your best foot forward and give the best you have. No matter what it is, even if it's something you don't like, do the best you have. Mm-hmm. And so that has worked well for all of us. And that's something I pass on to my kids. They've heard that many times over. And I know too, the nieces and nephews and the whole extended family. And now lots of baby grands all over too. So the one thing you said to me the other day, one other thing was, you've got to work to be happy. So work comes in a lot of ways, true. Doesn't mean necessarily a job. It doesn't mean, although it certainly does for most people, but you have to work to be happy. And you know, what's something that comes to mind for you around that?
It's no matter what you do, if you don't put the work ethic into it, you don't get a fine result. But that I enjoyed work. In fact, I after I quit and retired with retail, I still worked for 2 years over in Waterloo in a store. I just couldn't get away from it.
Well, and what I'd really love to have happened at this point in my work career is that my mom would travel with me, and because she's really good at selling and she knows how to hustle, and she's got stamina. She's got more stamina and hard work. She works hard around the farm still, and has gardens, and she's out on her golf cart, you know, every day in the summer doing stuff. So you continue to be you know, a great model of perseverance and strength and can do, and you know, just charging through the tough things in life. And you've done a great job of that, and you continue to do so. And I thank you and wish you a very happy, blessed, and love-filled Mother's Day. And we'll be definitely down to, I don't know if we get to hug yet, but we'll be there.
All right.
Anything else you want to say to the Facebook friends before we sign off today?
Oh, I'm very fond of the word change. Every time a woman changes clothes or changes wardrobes or a job or changes husbands, we can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, you're changing every minute. You must be prone to change, and that's really a great way to end. So thank you, love you, and have an awesome weekend.
Thank you. Well tried.
Thank you.